Hey, it's Mike. Thanks for tuning back in. It is Attic Find Friday, and that is the best day of the week. Today's a little bit different, though, because I didn't have an attic find that I wanted to go over today. I actually have a handful of attic finds that never panned out, that either didn't have enough detail, or I couldn't find any detail on them, or they just weren't interesting enough. They didn't have any photos, they didn't have any details, they were junk wax, which is probably the most interesting story, but didn't deserve its own Attic Find Friday episode, and I think you'll appreciate that when I get to it. Remember, starting next week, I will have a series of baseball card or sports card Attic Find Fridays for all of June, either 4 out of the 5 June Attic Find Fridays or all 5 of them. We'll see. We'll see what I can find. First of all, when I started researching this, I pulled up one of my old failed attic finds, and I just decided I'm going to do one more Google search. And I ended up finding the details on it that I needed, so I'll put that back in my list of things to do an Attic Find Friday on. I think that one's a pretty interesting one. I don't know if I'll do an Attic Find Friday or just like a separate video. I'm not sure it's an attic find. But that's one thing about this, is that sometimes my Google works and sometimes my Google doesn't. I'm pretty good at Google. I'm gonna put that on my resume. Great at Google. If you find any details on any of these that I couldn't find, please email me, thejunkwaxhero@gmail.com. Don't put any links in comments, because YouTube doesn't like comments with links. I don't think YouTube wants you leaving YouTube, so they don't want links to other websites. The first one here is the Mile High Find Collection. When I was at the Shriner show with Oliver about a month ago or so, I saw 2 Babe Ruth cards from the 1930s, and the PSA label had them both as from the Mile High Find Collection. And I said, oh, I got to find some details on that. That sounds like a great Attic Find Friday. And Oliver said, I'm familiar with the Mile High Find, but that's all comic books. And I said, well, these are 2 amazing Ruth cards. And if PSA created this, I don't know the word for it, put it on their label, it must have been a big card deal, card find. But no, Oliver's right. All I could find was 2 articles on milehighcomics.com about finding a collection in 1977 of comic books, vintage comic books, and then another one in 1985 of 10 times as many comic books, or 10 times the value of comic books, both, I guess, in Colorado, hence the name Mile High Find. And no mention of baseball cards whatsoever. And I couldn't find anything about the Mile High Find Collection. So if you find anything, please email me, thejunkwaxhero@gmail.com. I would love to do a video on that one. And then the next one is a frustrating one. A bunch of you, probably 5 or 6 of you, sent me the story from a few weeks ago about the 88,500 cards that were up for auction at a senior center. It seems at first glance that this is the perfect example of something I would do. It's an article in USA Today about a woman who found her father's collection after he passed away of 88,500 cards and gave them away to a senior center charity, except it wasn't. It wasn't the least bit interesting in terms of the cards. It was all junk wax. I don't know, it's interesting. So the daughter actually tried selling them for $500 and nobody would buy, and she got mad. If people aren't buying your baseball cards, why would you get mad at them? So she maybe reduce your price. So she decided to donate them, I guess out of spite, to a senior center or charity, which is nice. I'm glad that she did, because the senior center made quite a bit of money off this, well over $500. And so the senior center decided to auction them off. But the funniest part about this is that in the article, the original article, they quoted an expert sports memorabilia appraiser who said that it's very unusual to have collections of thousands of cards, let alone tens of thousands of cards. She said it's much more common to find collections with hundreds of cards. Let me know in comments how unusual you are with your collection. how many thousands of cards do you have? I am, it's shocking to hear a sports memorabilia expert say that it's very unusual to see collections in the thousands of cards. So then the charity split it up into 4 lots: baseball cards, football cards, basketball cards, and then hockey and miscellaneous. And I know my guy Nikola Tesla here in the comments is going to say, why are they lumping in hockey with miscellaneous? But they did. And they ended up making $6,326. They sold the baseball cards, 50,000 of them, for $3,001 to a guy who drove a long way to buy them. And the article says, these men scored big. And the picture shows one of the men with the charity director holding up 3 cards. One of them is a Jeter Topps rookie card. And then the other 2 are ultra modern cards that I didn't recognize. It looks like a Ronald Acuna rookie, not a good one. And I don't know what the other one is. So he paid $3,000 for these 50,000 cards. And you've got like $10 worth of cards in the primary photo. And then they have a picture of a mint vintage Hank Aaron card that he bought. And that's one of the highlighted cards. And I thought, okay, that looks really nice. But then I zoomed in on it, and it's a Topps reprint ultra modern. So I don't know. Maybe it's numbered to 1, but they didn't mention that. So it's puzzling where. And first of all, great that he donated $3,001 to charity and got some cards out of it. I hope he likes them. But it's just not worthy of an Attic Find Friday story. It's kind of a how did this make the news kind of story. The other cards they mentioned were a Griffey rookie, the Bill Ripken F-Face card, and the Jeter rookie. And that's it. But good for the charity. They made a ton of money, 13 times as much as the donor had hoped to make when she was trying to sell it. The next one is the Gerald Carroll Ty Cobb. And this is part of the Lucky 7 find that I did a video on a few months ago. Gerald Carroll, so there was an article in the newspaper in 1981 with a picture of Gerald Carroll with his grandfather's cards that he found in his grandfather's attic. And one of them is an amazing Ty Cobb. I think it was one of the Ty Cobb back cards because it was an article about that. And the journalist who found this article when doing research for another Ty Cobb find found this article and tried finding Gerald Carroll and couldn't. He wanted more details because all it was a picture in the newspaper of him with the cards and a caption underneath. And he wanted more details. He wanted to know what happened to the cards, how much did you sell them for, wanted to ask a lot of questions, but he couldn't find them. And I searched too, and I'm no journalist, but I tried finding more details of Gerald Carroll and the Ty Cobb. Nothing. So then similarly, also in a Lucky 7 find article, somebody mentioned the John W. Hudson, a 1997 Georgia find of 5 Ty Cobb backs cards that was only trumped by the Lucky 7 find. And there was nothing. I couldn't find anything on the John W. Hudson 1997 Georgia find either. It's frustrating. These are ones that I would love to maybe not do their own video on, but have kind of a addendum to the existing ones where I do hey, you remember the Lucky 7 find? Here are two other stories that I found that are related to that. And maybe they don't make their own video, but you can lump 2 of them into one video. Anyway, let me know what you think. How many cards do you have in your collection? I know mine has way too many, and I'm going to start selling cards in the near future. I've actually gotten pretty excited about it, which is weird because I really don't like selling cards, but I need to pare down my collection and start focusing. So more details on that next week. That's it. If you're new here, click that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great weekend.